Yeah, I'd say on average, I'm probably swimming around 26k a week now. That tends to follow a pretty set routine, which I quite like because I know what's in store for me. So Monday tends to be kind of a bit more focused on aerobic swimming and a bit of drills, usually about 5k, all sorts of drills, like literally all sorts, all the drills. I try and focus on the ones that help with rotation because that's something I've been working on, and I'm also trying to focus on my like front end catch. I think I tend to kind of go in and come straight down and don't get as much of the like front end as I could. So they're probably the main bits that I'm focusing on. Generally like just long bit of drills, mainly aerobic, nothing too hard. Tuesdays then the like savage VO2 session, so it tends to be a little bit less, more like 4k, but really working on that like top end speed. So it could be anything from like 50s, probably don't really go over like 150s. I mean, even like that, trying to do 150s like properly max is really hard. Really hard swimming, quite a lot of rest, but really trying to focus on like keeping that speed up. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday's then like super long aerobic. Tends to be, for everyone else in the squad, about 6k. For me, anywhere between 5 and 5.5k, depending on how much I manage to squeeze in. Tends to just be like long rep, again, could be anything up to like 1500. But tends to be like a mix of like 8s, 4s, all that kind of stuff. Thursday is then threshold, so tends to be about 3k of threshold work and warm up, cool down either side, so ends up being about 5k. Friday's usually quite a good kind of reset, think about your technique again and kind of get ready for the next week of swimming. We often have a range of different toys that Cos brings, from some of the fun ones like various paddles and stuff to then the really unfun ones like the parachute, which when you're me, you literally go nowhere in the pool when you put the parachute on, so definitely not my favourite. When I'm at home, I try and do a, I guess, technique / recovery swim over the weekend, usually on the Sunday, of just like 2.5k in the endless pool. Usually because I find like after a big weekend of training, actually it's just quite nice to get the body moving and kind of shake out. And I've also found that if I only have one day off swimming rather than 2 days off swimming, that helps me generally with my sort of technique and how I feel in the water. So I think it's a mixture of frequency, consistency and volume. So I actually think it's like all three. And again, I think different people react to different things. I tried like super high volume, that actually didn't really work that well for me because I was kind of so tired all the time. My technique was just awful and I wasn't really improving. But at the same time, I kind of, so like in the block I was useless, but actually after the block I improved a bit. So I think it helped to an extent, but it kind of took so much away from everything else, like the biking and running, that I'm not going to do that again. I do think for me, frequency, I think if you're not like a natural swimmer, just being in the water more definitely help. And then I think, yeah, just the general volume of just getting stronger, that plays quite a big part as well. One of the biggest improvements I've seen is actually I'm not as horrendous on my tired days. So I think like previously, like say a Monday swim always for me would be like awful because I'd just be really tired from a big weekend of biking and running, and generally just like the time I would lose compared to what I could usually swim would maybe be like 15 seconds, 100 meters, which is appalling. Whereas now, I think on those tired days, I'm just better. And like even on a, so like say like the Thursday or Tuesday session, before when I was tired, again, I'd be probably like 10 seconds per 100 slower on the hard stuff. Whereas I think now, probably more like 5 seconds slower, which again, like still quite a lot, but it's getting better. I've also seen improvements on kind of how long I'm able to hold that speed. So I'm getting better at being able to hold it across most of that 3K threshold set now, whereas again, before I'd maybe last for like 1K of it and then it would all go rapidly downhill. So small improvements, but hopefully adding up. So given the time that Beth said that she can swim backstroke, she would win in a backstroke versus front crawl for me. But I reckon I could play a bit dirty and like, I don't know, grab hold of her or something and pull her back. Proof will be in the pudding, won't it, at St. George? We'll see. I think like, he definitely seems like he's improved quite a lot, but he's had longer to do it. So I think we'd have to look at like time frames and, you know, get a bit geeky about it.